But Fournier is not merely a crusading zealot. He is a meticulous record keeper obsessed with documenting his place in history. The transcripts of his courtroom sessions provide our richest surviving treasury of medieval life during the Inquisition. To Fournier, the smallest details of everyday life are snares in which he may entrap much larger quarry.
Jacques Fournier urgently wanted to stamp out the heresy. And because of this, he made sure that his scribes wrote down every detail of what the villagers who were being deposed said. He also made sure to question them relentlessly on every aspect of their lives.
Saturday, July 26, 1320. Fournier issues a citation to the former chatelaine Beatrice de Planisol. When she appears before him, he admonishes her that she is suspected of heresy and demands to know if she has had contact with the good men. She admits having met them more than 2 decades earlier.
I was only 17 years old when I had seen Pierre Autier exercising his profession as a notary, and in this capacity he had written the act of sale of an item for my husband, the knight Béranger de Roquefort. I approved this sale by oath, and Pierre wrote up the bill of sale and ratified it. This was 24 years ago or so. He was not reputed to be a heretic at this time.
Fournier commands Beatrice to appear the following Tuesday to testify under oath. Fearful of another encounter with Fournier, Beatrice flees, accompanied by a young priest she has taken as a lover. As they quarrel, they are apprehended by Fournier's men. Jacques Fournier places her under arrest. From the transcript of Beatrice de Planisol.
I fled out of the fear that I had for my Lord Bishop because of what I had committed in the matter of heresy.
For Pierre Clergue, it is a day to strut his piety and to threaten those who know his sins of the flesh, not to utter them. August 1st, 1320. The articles found in the chatelaine's possession at her arrest place her in dire peril with the Inquisition, which now suspects her of witchcraft. Fournier's court reporter describes certain objects strongly suggestive of having been used to cast evil spells, such as 2 umbilical cords of infants found in her purse, linens soaked with blood, which seemed to be menstrual, a seed of colewort, and seeds of incense slightly burned in a sack of leather, a mirror, and a small knife wrapped in a piece of linen, and a dry piece of bread. Beatrice defends herself, explaining the esoteric items as folk remedies and medicines. Fournier lets the explanations pass, but curiously, he doesn't press her about the dried crust of bread. Clear evidence of reverence for the good men. He has a more important target in mind. He sends Beatrice to remand in the tower. This time, there will be no escape. Fournier continues one by one to interrogate the men and women of Montaillou, until finally one young woman shatters the code of silence. Grazide Lisier declares herself innocent of capital treason because her instructor in heretical philosophy has been none other than the village priest himself. Her testimony reveals that Pierre Clergue is not only a lecher, but a Cathar. From the transcript of Grazide Lisier.
He took my virginity in the grange, where the straw is stored. He did not do me any violence. He knew me often after then. I did not have a bad conscience that I slept with this priest because it was pleasing to us, to him and to me.
It was very hard for Fournier to crack the code when it came to Clergue, to prove that he was a heretic, or at least that he was a wayward priest. When Grazide finally spoke about her affair with him, and more importantly, spoke about how he had rationalized the affair to her, how his heretical ideas about sex, about God, about confession, about adultery, this opened the way for Fournier, and he was able to press Beatrice.
Finally, in her 9th session with Fournier, Beatrice breaks. The chatelaine corroborates Grazide's portrait of a venal, lying priest. She tells Fournier that she and Pierre Clergue had sex dozens of times, even in the chapel of Montaillou. From the transcript of Beatrice de Planisol.
I often asked him how he could celebrate Mass after having committed such a sin the preceding night. He replied that the sole valid confession is that which one makes to God, who knows the sin before it is committed, and who alone can absolve it.
To Fournier, it is further evidence of heresy by the priest. Fournier asks if she has heard him say that Christ would judge good and evil in the last judgment.
He said, "We will all come to the judgment of Christ, in which there will be many called and few chosen. And those few chosen would be only the good Christians, and those who were received by them upon their death."
Sunday, March 8th, 1321. The cemetery of Saint-Jean-Martyr near the walls of Pamiers, the most infamous plot of land in the Languedoc during the Fournier persecutions. This is where penitents are taken for public sentencing. Some will be punished with public humiliation, ordered to wear the yellow cross, the badge of shame. Others, like Beatrice, are sentenced to confinement in the wall, to be held in shackles, fed only bread and water. But they are the fortunate ones. Fournier is, in fact, among the most compassionate of inquisitors. He will burn only 5 people.
The body, after all, in in medieval thought was really not very important. It certainly wasn't important to the Cathars, and it wasn't very important to devout Catholics. It was the soul that was important.
The arrest of Pierre Clerc follows within days. He too is spared the fatal fires, but how he dies, whether by sickness, starvation, or his own hand, we do not know. But we do know that in January 1329, the case of Montaigu's insatiable and treacherous priest is reopened by the Holy Inquisition, and the bones of Pierre Clerc are ordered disinterred, exhumed by the disgraced family with their bare hands, and publicly incinerated